Heart disease is still the number one killer of women, causing up to 1 in 3 deaths in women in this country. And most of the time, it's preventable. Today, in honor of American Heart Month, which we celebrate in February, I want to give you 5 practical and realistic things that you can start doing this week, today, to protect your heart. Not talking about extremes, no overwhelm, just simple steps that really matter. Let's get into it. Are you a busy woman who prioritizes everyone else's health above your own? Do you have questions about your diet, exercise, or how to prevent or treat certain health conditions? Are you always Googling health questions that you forget to ask or are embarrassed to ask your primary care physician? Girl, do you even have a primary care physician? Well, welcome to Headed to Healthier. I'm Dr. Brittany Anderson, a board-certified family medicine physician, and every day in my private practice, I have discussions with women just like you who are doing their best to juggle the demands of life while also desiring to become healthier. Inside this podcast, you'll find practical and actionable health tips that you can incorporate into your daily life. You'll get expert advice and insight from some of my awesome healthcare colleagues, and you'll hear relatable conversations with incredible women just like you who have made their health a priority and are thriving because of it. So throw on your sneakers and get some steps in while you listen. Or if you're driving, get those hands at 10 and 2 and let's dig in. We are headed to healthier. Welcome back to Headed to Healthier. I'm Dr. Anderson. I'm a family medicine doc, and I love using February as a reset point because February is American Heart Month, time where we pause a little bit and we really lean into heart health awareness. And here's the thing, when we talk about heart disease, many women still think about heart disease as a quote-unquote man's issue. Well, let me tell you, it is not. Heart disease is actually the leading cause of death for women in the United States. And often in women, sometimes symptoms may look different. So it may not be this crushing chest pain that we think about. It may instead be, feeling tired all the time, having some shortness of breath, jaw pain, nausea, or even just feeling off. But here's the hopeful part that I want you to hang on to. So much of heart disease really is preventable. So my goal for today is for you to leave from listening to this episode with 5 practical ideas of things that you can start doing right now. Here's tip number 1. Know your numbers. There's an old saying that says you can't manage what you don't measure. And I believe that so much. I believe it in business and I believe it in health. If I could pick just one thing for women to do this year for their health, it would be this: know your numbers. That means know your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your A1C, and know your weight trends over time. Because here's what matters the most, that you need to know where you stand. Many women will say things like, oh, I feel fine, and because they feel fine, they assume everything's okay. But keep in mind, high blood pressure usually doesn't even cause symptoms until it's gotten to a point where it causes damage. That's one of the reasons that you may have heard hypertension or high blood pressure referred to as the silent killer. Many people don't have symptoms until it's too late and the real damage has already been done. So here's your practical step as it relates to your numbers. If you have not had a physical exam in the last year, the last 12 months, if you've not had a physical exam, I'm begging you to get one scheduled. While you're at this physical exam, you most likely are going to get blood work. If they don't offer you blood work, I think you should ask for it. And when you get that blood work done, ask for a copy of your lab results. Keep those numbers and start tracking those numbers every year, comparing them to the year before. Again, what we don't measure, we have a really hard time managing. So take those steps to measure those numbers by getting your labs done, by checking your blood pressure, by keeping an eye on your weight, and start comparing those numbers over time. That's true empowerment. And here's a shameless plug. If you need somewhere to log those numbers into, I created the Healthier Planner. It has a perfect space that's just for that. It's for you to record those numbers, for you to record what's happening at your doctor's visits so that you have a good record of those. I'll be sure to drop a link in the show notes if you're interested in ordering the planner. But even if you don't order the planner, put it in your notes app in your phone, put it on a calendar on your wall. But just make sure you know those numbers and that you're watching and tracking those numbers. That's so important. Tip two is move daily. And it doesn't have to be intense movement. I want you to think about movement as medicine for your heart. And here's a couple things that moving doesn't require. It doesn't require you have a gym membership. You don't have to have fancy and expensive clothes. And you don't have to have 60 minutes of punishment. Movement should not be about torture. Even just walking counts. Walking around your neighborhood, walking around your office building, even walking in your house if it's raining outside. Dancing in your kitchen counts. Strength training twice a week counts. 10-minute movement when you get breaks at work, that counts as well. When you get that regular movement in, it can do a couple things. It can lower your blood pressure, it can improve your insulin resistance, it can help raise your good cholesterol, it can lower stress hormones, and it can improve your mood. So I don't want you to think that you've got to have perfect workouts. You don't need that. You need consistency. Here's a practical tip for you. If you can commit to 20 minutes of movement a day for the next 7 days, then you're gold. Just 7 days. And after you finish those 7 days, then work on building from there. Your heart doesn't care what it looks like, it cares that you're moving. And so make sure that you're getting that important movement in. Now, here's tip number 3, and I have recorded episodes about this. I know that you've listened to them, but that is protect your sleep. Sleep really is one of the most underestimated tools for heart health. When you sleep poorly, your blood pressure goes up, your blood sugar worsens, inflammation increases, and your cortisol can stay elevated. I know that so many of us are juggling work and caring for kids and aging parents and marriages and businesses and all the things. But taking that time to sleep and get the rest that you need is not a sign of you being lazy. Sleep is preventive cardiology. The goal is that you get at least 7 hours of sleep per night. If you can get 7 to 8 hours a night, that's even better. But work on getting at least 7 hours per night. Here's some practical steps for you. 1, set a consistent bedtime. Set a time that you know you're going to bed at the same time every night so your body can start getting used to that new routine. And when you do that, once you set that bedtime, stop scrolling. Put your phone down 30 to 60 minutes before bed and really take that time to kind of calm your mind down instead of keeping you really revved up before time to go to bed. And then make sure that you keep your room dark and cool. There really is no reason to have a TV in your room. I tell people that the bedroom is for sleep and sex. Keep it dark and keep it cool. If you snore heavily or if you feel exhausted when you wake up in the morning and you know that you've gotten 7 or 8 hours of sleep at night, then you may be someone who needs to talk to your doctor about sleep apnea. This can also be heart related, so make sure that you are getting adequate sleep. But if there are issues with your sleep, or if you wake up not feeling rested and you know you've gotten plenty of hours of sleep, make sure that you look into that. And keep in mind that getting 7, 8 hours of sleep per night is not you being indulgent. It's you being protective and it's you doing what you need to do for your heart. Okay, tip number 4, manage stress intentionally. Chronic stress is not just emotional, but it really can be physiological. When we have chronic stress, our cortisol stays elevated, our blood pressure stays elevated, and it can increase inflammation in our body. And as women, we all know that we often carry so much of that invisible mental load. The to-do list, the remembering what needs to be done for everybody in the house, the caregiving, the planning, the emotional labor. Stress management is not optional self-care. I want you to instead think about it as when you manage that stress, you're protecting your heart. Some practical tools and ways that you can help with managing your stress. Take a period of time, maybe 5 minutes or so, and do some slow breathing, just really intentional, deep breaths. Or take a 10-minute walk outside. Take some time and do prayer or meditation. Or if you like journaling, get you a cute notebook and start journaling regularly. And here's a big one. Say no to things that are unnecessary. And you may have to start off with just one thing a day that someone asks you that you say, you know what, I can't do that. And build that up until you are regularly saying no to things. As women, I think we have such a hard time saying no to people, but it really is something that we all should work on. You don't need to eliminate your stress. You just need to learn to manage that stress. And when you can manage your stress, you're doing a lot to protect your heart long term. Now, here's tip 5. Eat in a way that supports your heart. Let me keep this simple. Heart health is not about a trendy diet. It's not about the newest thing that you've seen on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Heart health, when we relate it to food, is about patterns. So take some time and focus on getting more fiber in your diet, more vegetables and fruit, and eating healthy fats like olive oil or nuts or fish, really making sure that you're getting fewer ultra-processed foods and that you're getting fewer sugary beverages. I tell my patients often that most of the things in the middle of the grocery store, with the exception of the frozen vegetables, are things that are probably more processed than we actually really need. If you want a general model of what you should be eating, look at the Mediterranean style pattern of eating. It's lots of plants, lots of healthy fats, and lean proteins. When it comes to thinking about what your diet looks like and what you're eating, know this, you don't need perfection. It's okay to have a splurge day every now and then. Just don't go overboard. If you want a practical step, here's one for you. Think about adding one serving of vegetables to one meal every day this week. And you may say that sounds really easy, but I guarantee you that most of us aren't doing it. Make sure that you are getting vegetables on your plate. Start off with one meal a day every day, then go to 2 meals a day, and then increase it so that you're doing it 2 to 3 meals a day, every week. Small changes done consistently can really be powerful, so that's a big one. And I know that's 5, but here's a bonus one because we're all women here, and this is important. It's important to remember that as we go through menopause, which happens in us all as we age, our estrogen levels drop. And that hormonal shift, that drop in our estrogen level, really does increase our cardiovascular risk. So what happens then is cholesterol levels will often rise, that visceral fat that we have around our belly increases, and our blood pressure can increase. So if you're in your 40s or 50s or beyond, this is really not the time to disengage from your health. This is time to double down, lock in, and be consistent. This stage of our life really does deserve proactive care. I want to take a moment just to point out too how much our family history matters. If your mother or father or sibling had heart disease, especially if they had it at a young age, this puts you at higher risk. But here is the key. Genetics loads the gun. Lifestyle pulls the trigger. So just because we have a family history doesn't mean that there's nothing we can do. We certainly can make sure that we are making those lifestyle changes to really improve our heart health and reduce the likelihood of us having heart disease even if we have a family history of such. Family history doesn't equal destiny. It means you need to know your numbers, you need to be consistent, and you need to be proactive. Information is power. It shouldn't be fear. As we close this episode, let me say this clearly. Heart health is not about perfection. It's about small, consistent choices. You don't need a new life. You need a few better habits. So here's a challenge for you. Pick one of those 5 things and start this week, whether it's scheduling your annual checkup, taking a walk, going to bed earlier, adding the vegetable to your plate, or practicing your breathing. I know you can do at least one of these. Heck, I know you can do all 5 of them. And if this episode helped you, share it with another woman in your life because protecting our hearts protects our families, our community, and our future. I'll see you here next week. Hey, thanks for listening in today. I hope something you heard in this episode will help you on your journey to becoming healthier. Remember, this podcast offers general health information. I am not your personal physician. If you need advice that is specific to you, be sure to consult your physician. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider sharing it with a friend and reviewing it on Apple Podcasts. Also, be sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Tune in next week for another great episode of Headed to Healthier. Until then, take care of yourself. Talk soon. Bye.